Hi everyone, welcome to What's Brewing. I'm Mark. In today's episode, we're sitting down with Marie Ducote-Comeaux, owner and operator of Cajun Food Tours out of Lafayette, Louisiana, for part one of her interview. But before we get into it, let's roll that beautiful B-roll. Marie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for being here. Glad to have you on my bus.
Oh, it's actually a very beautiful bus, and people are probably asking why we're doing this one on a bus. But so go ahead and tell them who you are and what you do.
My name's Marie Ducote-Comeaux. I have Cajun Food Tours, and I drive this little bus around, and I introduce people to my passion. And my passion is Acadiana. My passion is the food of Acadiana, the people, the history, the past, the culture, the resilience. And that's kind of what you get when you get on this little 14-passenger party bus. We take people to restaurants, basically. We're gonna visit 5 locally owned, fabulous, usually family-owned restaurants or markets or bakeries. 5 different eateries on a 3-hour tour. That's our typical original Cajun food tour.
That's awesome. So how did this all come about? Like, where did you start to where you are now with the Cajun Food Tours?
All right. Well, I was in education for 23 years. I was a Louisiana and American history teacher, junior high. Totally loved every single day of teaching junior high. And then I went into administration. I taught for 14 years. I went into administration for 9 years. Being an assistant principal is totally different than being a teacher. And I really started losing my passion after a few years of that. I did it for 9 years. I always say 9 years is like 8.5 years too long to be an assistant principal. So I did that for a while and really started losing my passion, started praying about what God had, as a plan for me, for my new, something I could be passionate about. During that time, I was also going around to conferences, education conferences, one perk, I guess, of being an assistant principal. And anytime I ever travel anywhere, I'm a history buff, right? So I do tours. I'm always looking for a good tour to take, some kind of history tour to take. And in 2010, I was in Baltimore, Maryland for a conference, and I stumbled upon, totally by accident, my very first food tour. And in 2010, I had never heard of a food tour. And I was all like, wait, what? It's a tour and they're going to feed us? This is brilliant. What a brilliant idea. And it was a walking tour in the old Fells Point area. And immediately I thought, what a perfect way to be introduced to a new area, to someplace that you're new to. Not only a tour, but a tour and you get to eat. It's so cool. So and I thought, man, it's too bad that you can't walk around in Lafayette, or else Lafayette would be such a great place for something like that. But it was, like I said, it was a walking tour. I knew that when people come to Lafayette, everything they're going to want to taste is much more spread out than where we were in the little Fells Point area. And so I didn't think anything more about it. But the next couple of times I traveled, I would specifically Google food tours. Because let me tell you, once you've had a food tour, those regular tours are never going to cut it again. So I took a couple more walking food tours that year, and I kept thinking, God, it's too bad nobody could do that in Lafayette. I'm sure that would do well in Lafayette, but too bad you can't walk around Lafayette. So the last food tour I took that year was in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Louisville we picked up on a bus. And from the time we got on that bus, I was like, oh, duh. I bet somebody's even doing that in Lafayette. So I Googled right there to see and I was like, man, I can't believe nobody's doing that in Lafayette. Lafayette would be such a perfect place for that. So we go on this little bus tour in Louisville. That night, I was laying in bed in the hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. And the 3 years I had spent praying about my passion and what am I going to do. And this year that I had been taking food tours, totally out of left field. I mean, it had not occurred to me at all. But those two things crashed together on me. I got this overwhelming and immediate knowledge that I would be starting a food tour business. what I had was a freaking panic attack right there in the hotel because, you know, I mean, own a business, not on my list, you know, drive a bus, definitely not on my list, you know. So I couldn't imagine telling people I'm going to quit a professional job and drive a bus around. And so I tried really, really hard to pray the idea away. And during that time, the idea had me like this, you know, around the throat. And my brain was planning every single details to the cup holders over your shoulder, you know what I mean? While I was trying to get rid of the idea. But what kept coming to me when I was trying to pray the idea away was that I had been praying specifically about my passion, about losing my passion and what's my new passion. And then I was overlooking one of my deepest passions, that being my home, this area. Acadiana, not just the food, you know, I mean, definitely the food, but the people, the past, the culture, the history, all that. And so, you know, so when I finally gave into it, you know, then, as they say, the rest is history, I guess, you know, but when I finally gave into it, you know, I couldn't believe, like I said, I followed this passion, but I always say, you know, if I thought I was passionate about Acadiana, 10 years ago, hundreds of tours ago, over 1,500 tours ago, I'm tenfold more passionate about it now. Let me tell you, there's nothing like having the opportunity to see our home through the eyes of people from literally all over the world, to give us this whole new, to give me a whole new appreciation, a deeper appreciation for what we have all the time.
That's amazing. Your story is very amazing. I'd love to continue talking about where we're starting to get to at the end, where it's talking about how you grew with the passion of it through doing these Cajun food tours. Do you mind doing another interview with us?
No, not at all.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here and coming to join me on my bus.
So that's going to do it for us here over at What's Brewing. If you like what you see here, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can get updated when videos like this one come out. But until the next one, have a good one.